Shift for deck C is a little different. What you do is, well, loading for deck C and deck D is a little different. You hold the shift and you push down on the second select button. That will load deck C and deck D. It's shift and push on this middle button, or the second select button will load deck C. It works the same on the other side, except you have to select your track. And once you find your track, you hold the shift and you use the second select button on the other side. I'm sorry, one second. I got that wrong. I don't want to screw you guys up. You hold this shift. You hold this shift. Okay, so I have it set up for loading deck C and D. Is this shift, you find the track by rolling up and down. When you want to load it, you hold the shift and you push, it loads deck C. When you find the track that you want, if you want to load it onto deck D on the other side, you hold the shift on the other side and push the other select button, the second one over, and push that button in. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so now I want to load the track that I found on the other side into deck D. I hold this shift button and I push in this select, and it will load the track that I found into deck D. So you can search for your tracks on this side and find your music, but in order for you to load the tracks, so shift load goes into deck A, shift load goes into deck B, shift push goes into deck C, shift push goes into deck D. Get used to it. It's not as difficult as you think it is. Now, as far as your ins and out and your loop section and your reloops for your loop section, for deck A, they work just like they're supposed to, as well as the search function. For deck A, it's fine. Your key lock for deck A, if you shift and hit the key lock, you can turn your key lock on and off. If you're not shifting, when you push on and off, it activates your filter. So on for the filter, off for the filter, on for the key lock, off for the key lock. That's the same for deck A and deck B. I have not mapped those functions for deck C and D. I'm still working on that. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to do it. But that's some of the basic stuff that I've mapped so far. Also, say for instance you want to select what type of effect you're going to be using. I don't use my microphones because I play usually in a club environment where nobody's talking. They're there to dance. So I probably will never use these microphones, but these knobs are all MIDI assignable. So for deck A and C, if you turn the top knob, it will take you through your effects rather quickly, depending on how fast you want to turn it. And the bottom one will do deck B and D. So basically, I have access to my effects by selection here. I could just dial them in. And I'm also thinking about mapping these 6 to do other things, where I might actually reassign how my dry, wet, and the rest of my filters are actually used. Haven't made up my mind yet on that. But that's a basic rundown for basically my mapping for what I've done for deck C and D. If you guys have any questions, just stay tuned, because I know I'm going to be loading up more videos as we go, so I can give you a little bit more detail. But that's a basic to help you get started and feel it out. As a DJ, we all mix differently. We all want to feel comfortable with the hardware that we're using. So this mapping is comfortable for me. it's logical for me, and it follows a pattern for me. So I'm able to follow it. Might not work for you, but at least you have a base to start with. You can always go in and reassign this stuff and track your pro. That's why it's so great. Again, any questions, just hit me back. And you guys see I'm in YouTube or on the forums all the time. I'll just hit you back. Thanks.